Welcome to Talmudic Treasures. Today we're learning the Nedarim, page 39, which discusses the special mitzvah of Bikur Cholim, of visiting the sick, and which is considered to be a Torah-based obligation. And on this, the Talmud tells us the importance of visiting someone who is sick. It says that there is no measure, which not only does it mean, like by other mitzvot, that there is no measurement for the great reward one will receive for doing such a noble act, but it means a couple other things. If, let's say, there is a child that is sick, perhaps someone who is a gadol, someone who is not only an adult, but a prominent individual, may feel that it's too lowly for that person to go and visit him. On this we say no. There is no measurement. It doesn't matter who you are, you still have an obligation to go and visit the sick. And this is actually derived that when Abraham had his ritual circumcision, and he was at a very weak point physically, that God himself went to visit him. And there's no one greater than God. But nonetheless, God is showing that no matter how great you are, it's still important to visit the sick. And how many times? On this, the Talmud says, even 100 times. There is no limit. If you feel that there is a benefit of this person having your presence there, then you shouldn't just go one time and check a box and be done. But rather, you should try your best to visit the sick as much as possible. Now, interestingly enough, the Talmud discusses here that it doesn't mean you have to spend hours. In fact, the actual mitzvah is just showing up. And even standing, even if you don't sit down, but just being in the mere presence of that person who is sick makes a significant difference. The Talmud, in fact, over here also tells us that if you visit someone who is sick, you are going to remove 1/60th of that person's illness. And it doesn't literally mean 1/60th, but it means that there is a certain element of this person being sick that will be removed when you visit them. And we can understand, because in addition to physically not feeling well, we know how important it is for the spirits of a person who is sick to be uplifted and elevated. And the mind is so powerful that if a person feels that they are wanted, that they are remembered, then all of a sudden it could give them a more healthy outlook toward their future and a more optimistic, more of an optimistic outlook for who they will be and what their prognosis will be. Now, it doesn't mean if you have 60 people that all of them are going to end up curing him completely, each one 1/60th, but it means that every single person, the first person makes the greatest impact, and then a little bit more is removed that person's sickness. The Talmud over here concludes by speaking about even great rabbis who were not visited, and it discusses there was a student that no one visited him until Rabbi Akiva came along. The great Rabbi Akiva went into the room and he saw that it was dusty and dirty and perhaps filled with germs. So he started dusting and mopping and cleaning and sweeping up. And because of that, it's said that that student ended up living. He ended up having a totally different attitude and a 180 in how he was going to turn out to be. And because of that, Rabbi Akiva said, anyone who does not visit the sick, it's almost like you are responsible for murder or for their death. Because when we visit the sick, we're able to help them feel better. And therefore, this is why it is such an important act in the Torah.